That's like saying if Cristiano Ronaldo had to do defending every week, he'd be crap. Yeah, he probably would be. Mbappe to Real Madrid will happen 100%. Welcome back, guys, to another week of TFW. This is your show dominated by all of your opinions. And this week, well, we're taking a bit of a look at some transfers. Loads of you have written in, and we've got quite a few interesting opinions here on the laptop. So let's get straight into it. First off, Jodiana Tully has said, Coutinho is rumoured to be moving to Chelsea after Sancho turned out and moved to Chelsea. Not so sure about the Sancho bit, but looks like quite a few of you are talking about Coutinho. Senna's also written in saying Coutinho's agent supposedly wants him to go to Chelsea. Is it a good or a bad move? I always talk about big money signings going to Chelsea as being bad because not only are they going to block the potential development of the likes of Hudson-Odoi and Abraham and Mount and Pulisic, and also it's really going against what Chelsea have done in the last 18 months or so when it comes to all of the youth that they've brought through. On top of this, though, they have brought in Hakim Ziyech. Let's not forget that that move is going to go through in the summer as well. Do they need Coutinho as well? Part of me thinks, look, he's done it in the Premier League. We all know he's a brilliant, talented player. Maybe he just needs the right system. Maybe he needs to be that star in the team, and he isn't quite that at Barcelona. In fact, Chelsea having two sick midfielders, having great wide players, and a forward in Tammy Abraham, maybe Coutinho fills in that role. He's an experienced player, certainly in a team of quite young stars. Will he be blocking Mason Mount's development? Yes, he probably will. I'm really not sure. Personally, out of all the moves, I think will work out best for him. Whether or not Chelsea would actually go for it is a whole nother matter. One thing's for certain, I can't see him regaining top form and becoming the star that Barcelona thought they were buying when they spent all that money on him from Liverpool. Nidob Minikuma has written in saying Mbappe to Real Madrid will happen 100%. This is a big call. I actually happen to agree. It's only a matter of time of when it will happen, not whether it will happen. After Modric runs down his contract, Hazard will take the number 10 shirt, leaving 7 open for Mbappe. His idol shirt, his favourite club, would definitely bring him to Madrid. That's quite specific, but it does kind of make sense as well, because we all know that he's a big Cristiano Ronaldo fan, and if Modric leaves, then Hazard takes 10, and I mean, yeah, you've kind of planned it out for him. Maybe you should be Mbappe's advisor. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think it will happen. It's not that it's a step up from Real Madrid in terms of money or in terms of amount of trophies, from PSG, because you're kind of going to win everything apart from the Champions League at PSG. Apart from going for the Champions League, playing for Real Madrid does really seem like an end game for most players. Like most players, you've got the top clubs where you reach the highest level. And we spoke about before, like in terms of the culture and the history and having the chance to win all these things. When you're at Real Madrid or Barcelona, you're at the top. There's no real sort of move sideways. Yeah, Juventus and Bayern potentially. But in terms of constantly being sort of in the limelight and at the pinnacle of the footballing world, regardless of how you're playing on the pitch, whether Liverpool are the best team this season or Bayern are the best team this season and win the Champions League, moving to Real Madrid is just, when it's your dream, as it is for most players as a kid, to move to one of these two big teams, Mbappe is going to do it regardless of whether PSG are having a better season than Real. Like PSG are through to the next round of the Champions League, Real Madrid could be knocked out by Man City, doesn't make a difference. I'm not saying it happened this summer, but yeah, I agree with you, Nidob. I think it'll happen pretty much in the next few years. XP1 Gamer, this is a big opinion, says he thinks Lewandowski is overhyped. He's a good striker, but no one cares about the team around him. Love from Turkey. I wouldn't say no one cares about the team around him. I think there's some really, really good players at Bayern Munich. Thomas Muller's form this season has been incredible. Serge Gnabry looks like a massive hope for the future of the German national team as well as Bayern. Alphonso Davies is doing some brilliant things. Thiago's a wonderful midfielder. I think they are appreciated, but he's the one who gets the most of the limelight because he's the one who grabs all the goals. And as much as people say, oh, he just scores, or, it's all about the team around him, nobody talks about all the chances that were created. You're always talking, and what makes the difference in the football match is the amount of times that the chance has been created and it's been put in the back of the net. That's why it's the most difficult thing to do in football, and that's why Lewandowski, I disagree. He is not overhyped. Like, he's the man outscoring pretty much everybody this season. In fact, I think he is the highest goal scorer in Europe in all competitions, certainly in the top leagues. And yeah, puts the ball in the back of the net and wins more games for Bayern more than anyone else. So you can't really say he's overhyped. Anyway, Edgy Teen is talking about Bayern as well. It says Bayern wants to ditch signing and go for Werner. Yes. On today's Daily News, I did mention this as well, that Hansi Flick, He's been given a contract at Bayern Munich up until 2023, which means if they're backing the manager, they're going to back him in the transfer window, and he is a massive Timo Werner fan. Much higher, held in higher regard than he does Leroy Sané. So yeah, the Sané deal is going to be very expensive, way more expensive than Werner. You're also taking a player across divisions. Like, I know he was already at Schalke, but bringing him back from what he's learned at Manchester City, he's not necessarily in the best of form. Of course, he's been injured as well. I think Werner's a lower risk with a higher guarantee of what he's going to bring to the team. Sané could, of course, still be amazing as well, but it's a bit more of a gamble. Hansen00 said that resuming the league at the start of May will be an advantage to clubs that commence training earlier than others. Earliest a match should be played is mid to late May, even though it will mess with a lot of contracts. Yes, I agree, but there's not actually... A lot of clubs are taking risks by bringing their players back, even in small groups. Like I mentioned on the daily as well, Bayern Munich are back in training. I think Frankfurt as well in the Bundesliga have brought a few groups back in to train. I guess they're just keeping their players fit, maybe seeing the league will return in the next kind of 6 weeks to 8 weeks. But yeah, it's saying it's an advantage to other clubs. Every club technically could bring some of their players back in small groups. Although, yeah, they shouldn't because of, all the laws suggesting that you stay inside and self-isolation and quarantine and stuff like that. It would be ridiculous, yeah, if like loads of Premier League clubs and Serie A clubs brought their whole squad back in for training. And that is a massive point as well, is that players are going to have to go through a pre-season. They are staying fit at home, it's not the same, before then going back straight into league action. Otherwise, my word, there'll be injuries galore. Can you imagine if you go from like a bit of cycling at home and like a daily jog to then going to play a Premier League match in a small World Cup style tournament like every 3 days? Everyone will be dying left, right and centre. It'll be terrible for injuries. Next up, Days Viking 406 has hit us with a quick few transfers, potentially. Ansu Fati to Liverpool? No. There's no way Barcelona are going to sell their most prized young asset. James Rodriguez to Everton. That I can see happening. Real Madrid clearly want to get rid of him. He's not in Zinedine Zidane's plans. And it looks like most clubs have sort of got sick of trying to give him a chance. He's not really working out at Real Madrid. Bayern didn't exactly see the best of him. I don't think anyone like Barcelona aren't going to. Juve or Atletico Madrid even are going to take another chance on him to prove himself. Of course, they did have a great relationship at Real Madrid in which James has arguably produced his best season for the club, so maybe James Rodriguez to Everton I can kind of see happening. And lastly but not least, Ronaldo to be sold. I know there's been rumours about him moving to PSG, about how Juventus are having to sell him to keep the club afloat with all the money. I don't quite see it happening. I think selling Ronaldo for like 50, 60, 70 million now, even though they may need the money because of what's happening in the world, I think that he'll be worth so much more to them afterwards in terms of, firstly, on the pitch, winning trophies and bringing in money, but of course, having one of the biggest global superstars at your club is probably worth it to hold on to him, so I can't see them selling him. Anyway, Nicolas Simos next up with an opinion that KOKE is the most underrated midfielder of last decade, 2010-2019. I'm going to agree. I mean, I don't know how people rate KOKE. He is, again, one of these players who's playing just below the kind of top line of European and world football. But despite this, he's won everything there is to win in club football with Atletico Madrid in the last 10 years. So Copa del Rey, La Liga, Super Cup, 2 Europa Leagues, apart from the Champions League. But did take part in 2 finals. Atleti have always been up there as a good side. It's maybe not as a glamorous style of football under Diego Simeone, nor is he a glamorous style of player. But yeah, if you read between the lines of football, definitely underrated. Put it this way. If you don't think that KOKE has been an unbelievable servant for Atletico Madrid, an unbelievable footballer in the national team as well in the last 10 years, you may need to go back and watch more of his over 300 league games for Atletico Madrid. Probably way more than that if you include all the cups and the Spanish games as well. Yes, a massive, massive footballer. It's brilliant. Marwan Ali next up, saying if Trent Alexander-Arnold was put into a team where they were constantly being pressed back and barely attacked, he wouldn't put out world-class performances game in, game out. Well, yeah, obviously, because that's not his strong point. That's like saying if Cristiano Ronaldo had to do defending every week, he'd be crap. Yeah, he probably would be. Yeah, this is a really odd one where people start comparing scenarios that aren't necessarily happening. Like, if we all know that Trent is a good defender, not a world-class defender defensively. Going forward, yeah, he's one of the best right-backs in the world, for sure. No doubt about it. But yeah, I mean, they aren't being pressed back. I guess that's the whole point. I guess that's why he's so good, and I guess that's why Klopp and Liverpool play like they do, so that they don't have to rely on his defensive stuff, because he's so much better going forward. Yeah, I mean, sure, if you put any player in a bad position, they're going to look crap. Seems like a bit of shade at Liverpool there. Alexander-Arnold's a fantastic player. Lastly but not least, Matai Repak has said, Spurs are looking for a left-back, and I think Alex Telles is perfect for them, because he's cheap, like Levy likes. He most certainly does, Daniel Levy. And very good, what Jose likes. I think most managers like a good player. But yeah, certainly, and no disrespect to the Portuguese league, apart from João Felix, who was an unbelievable talent coming from Benfica, they don't necessarily bring in the biggest transfer fees. If you were to sign someone like Alex Telles from Porto, right, who's rejected a new contract for the club, I'd be amazed if it was over 40 million. I'd be amazed if he went for over 40 million pounds as a 26-year-old in the prime of his career. On the flip side of this, a 26-year-old playing in, the Premier League, especially an English one, will just be highly overrated and go for like 70 million. Or the same thing with someone in La Liga. Like, I think it's pretty harsh, that's just the way it is. But yeah, I think for whoever gets him, the Spurs would do very good with him. I think Danny Rose out on loan at Newcastle, doesn't look like he's got a future at the club. Ben Davies has never really been that top level, and Ryan Sessegnon looks to be more of an attacker. So yeah, Alex Telles would be a pretty good fit. He's been linked with Chelsea as well. He'd be a pretty good fit for wherever he goes. Anyway, that is all from this week's TFW. Let me know your thoughts in the conversation below. Remember, every single Sunday night is where you can leave all of your opinions, all of your transfer rumours that you've heard in the YouTube community tab for Monday's TFW. But until next week, it's been great talking to you. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.